If you make good money but still feel like your finances are pretty tight right now, here's some things that you need to evaluate so that you can get back on the right track. Hey guys, I'm Marissa and welcome back to my channel. Here we talk about life and money and how you can enjoy life and accomplish financial goals through the use of a budget. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any new videos. My husband and I have recently been talking about how we're making good money. We're making more money than we ever have in our married life, but it still feels like money is pretty tight at times. So today I wanted to talk about some things that you should look out for when you feel like you're making good money, but money still feels tight. And these are things that we've been evaluating for ourselves as well. The first is payroll deductions. So your net take-home pay, which is what's deposited into your bank account each payday, and that amount may feel so much smaller than your actual gross salary. It's important to take a look at your pay stub and see all the things that are coming out of your paycheck before it gets deposited into your bank account. And that way you have a greater understanding of all the other things that you're actually covering before that money ends up in your bank account. Take a look at things like taxes, state, federal tax, Social Security, Medicare. Some of these different types of taxes are just like set rates, but others you will fill out, a W-4 form to indicate how much you want withheld for taxes. This is something that's really great to talk to a tax professional about to make sure that you're withholding the correct amount for taxes. If you're withholding too much for taxes, then when you file your taxes, you may receive a refund. Some people like operating that way, which is fine, but if you want to have more money for your actual take-home pay, then reducing the amount that you're withholding for taxes throughout the year would be more beneficial. But again, talk to a tax pro about that so you know how much you should be withholding. Other things to take a look at would be insurance premiums if you have your insurance through your employer, as well as 401k deductions, money that's being invested, so that's a really good thing. Maybe you're also withholding for an HSA or an FSA, which is great, as well as a dependent care FSA. Like there are so many things that you can have deducted out of your paycheck through your employer. And what starts off as your gross after all these deductions is what your net take-home pay is. So a lot of times with that net take-home pay, it may feel a lot smaller because you have all of this money coming out, which can be for good reasons, but therefore it's reducing that net take-home pay. So sometimes it's a great reminder for me to go back and look at my husband's pay stub, who works for an employer, is a W-2 employee. Go back and look at his pay stub and see how much we're contributing to his 401k, the HSA, the dependent care FSA, like all these things that are beneficial for us and they're all good things, just means that his net take-home pay is a little bit lower. So it may be worth it to take a look at that pay stub and evaluate to see if all of these deductions that are coming out of your paycheck are correct for what you need. The next thing to evaluate would be non-essential spending. This is why budgeting is so important. And here at my channel, I talk a whole lot about budgeting. I share my personal household budget here, but I love being able to find the balance between enjoying life and accomplishing financial goals, spending money on the things you want and also things that you need and things that are going to be beneficial for you in the future. It's all about finding that balance, but at times you may have to reevaluate that and see if your balance is correct. It's really easy as time goes on, or maybe even after you get like a pay increase, to have more of a lifestyle creep where before you weren't spending a whole lot of money on Starbucks or random Amazon purchases, but now all of a sudden you realize that you're going to Starbucks 3 times a week and you have random Amazon packages showing up at your house and you just love online shopping and you just purchase something because you like it. And I'm talking to myself here because when my husband and I first got married 7 years ago, we were making about a third of what we are now. And we said no to a whole lot of things. Our lifestyle was very, very minimal because we were working on paying off debt. It was just the two of us. We lived in a small 1-bedroom apartment. We made a lot of sacrifices so that we could work on our finances. But now we have a family of 4. Our income has increased, and I definitely noticed that we spend more money on non-essential things, which isn't a bad thing. But again, sometimes you have to reevaluate that balance. My husband Jacob and I have had conversations recently about pulling back on the random little Amazon purchases here and there and evaluating, do we truly need this, or is this just like a random purchase that we want to make? If you want to get started with budgeting, I have a course called Budget to Your Dream Life, which walks you through everything you need to know about budgeting and how you can use your budget to be able to work on your financial goals and enjoy life along the way, working towards that dream that you have for your life, whether that is something like being a stay-at-home mom or paying off debt, saving for a house. You can do those things when you make your budget and optimize it to be able to find that balance and work towards those goals. I'll go ahead and leave a link to that course down below and you can check it out there. My husband and I have been budgeting for 7 years now, and it's helped us to be able to pay off over $80,000 of debt, save for a down payment on our house, continue to invest, and also enjoy life along the way, like go on some vacations. I've also made a switch to being more of a stay-at-home mom role, and budgeting has allowed us to do so. But every now and then, we need to take a look back at our overall structure of our budget and evaluate our needs versus wants and see if we're spending a whole lot of money on things that are non-essential. The next thing to consider, if you feel like you're making a lot of money but doesn't feel like it, is to consider inflation. I don't know about you guys, but I have just noticed that for us in our budget for the last year, the cost of things has just gone up. As we now spend almost like twice as much on groceries as we did a year ago, as well as gas prices, there's definitely just a lot of things that are taking up more of our disposable income because of inflation. And that's unfortunately something that we can't control and kind of just is what it is. And to make that work in our budget, spending more money on these essentials with inflation means spending less on some non-essential things right now. And the fourth thing you can consider is actually making even more money. What may have felt like you were making really good money even just a year or so ago, maybe it doesn't feel like that anymore because of inflation, and also your situation may have changed. For us in our household, we now have 2 children, ages 2.5 and 4 months old. And having kids definitely adds more costs to our lives, and having more income kind of gets eaten up a little bit by these additional family costs, which is okay, but it is what it is. So between increasing our family size and also inflation, I think those have been some really big factors as to feeling like things have been a little bit tighter. And so sometimes that just means increasing your income even more, whether that is asking for a raise at your current job, finding a different job that has better pay, or even taking on a side hustle to be able to increase that income. I know it's crazy times that we're living in right now, and I talk to my husband all the time about how insane it feels that a few years ago it was like a dream to think of the income that we now have, but now at this point it feels a lot tighter. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Have you felt like your income has been a lot tighter, and what do you think that reasoning is for that? And with that, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.
About to leave.